Greetings everyone, I'm Military Ration Enthusiast and thank you for tuning in on this very special occasion because today, after long trial and tribulation, I have finally managed to acquire an official Romanian Army individual combat ration, or as we say, Rație Individuală de Luptă. This is the official 24-hour ration of the Romanian Armed Forces. Romania happens to be my dear motherland, so today we're going to take our time and explore this ration bit by bit. I think no one has made a video on such rations before. I have seen none out there. This comes in 4 menus, 1, 2, 3 and 4, out of which I have menu 1, 2 and 3. But the menus are actually not listed. It's complete mystery. I've even looked on the NATO's website where all of the other members' rations are listed and nothing was mentioned there either. So as you can see, this is huge even for my hand for comparison. This is huge even for a 24-hour ration. So we're really gonna take our time today. So I'm going to place some timestamps in the description so you can easily skip to parts where you're interested. Now let's get right into this. This does look like a peelable seal, peelable enough, so we'll try to peel it. If not, we'll just open it up with a knife. Of course, it's not yes, I do think it is peelable due to the way it's ruptured, but it seems to have failed. So we're going to open it up with knife. Now that we're open, let's see what we've got inside. This is a 24-hour ration, so it should have components for dinner, lunch, and breakfast. So let's see what's inside. I see it's prepared in individual bags. This is dinner, cina, biscuits sărați, salty biscuits, băutură izotonică, isotonic drink, pate de șuncă, pork pate, and various other interesting components. So yeah, they are even segmented into individual menus. This is dinner. This should be lunch. And now the last one. Here should be breakfast. There it is. Mic dejun. Well, I'm going to start off with breakfast. So let's see what we have. The information is helpfully printed here on the label in both Romanian and English for better interoperability with other NATO member states. But either way, let's see what we got for breakfast. First of all, we have a flameless ration heater. Very similar to what you see in the USMREs, except slightly bigger. Even translated with instructions and everything. We've got a pack here of beef goulash. Very nice. I don't know how goulash works for breakfast, but I ain't complaining. We have 2 packets of biscuits, one salty and one sweet. And they actually made a typo here. It should be biscuits sărați, it's just biscuits săra. We have 2 cereal bars, not specified what kind. An accessory packet, we'll check it out in a moment. A singular eucalyptus mint candy, some peach jam, isotonic vitamin lemon flavored beverage base, Another little packet of peach jam, if the camera could focus. And a little breakfast tea bag. Very nice. Let's also see that accessory packet. First of all, you get a disposable cup, which somebody has attempted to get it to hold its shape with a plastic bag. That sort of worked, but I'm not going to use this cup because it does feel quite flimsy. We get a packet of sugar, wet wipes, pack of instant coffee, black pepper, a little blade of chewing gum, with another one to go along, and 2 packets, tiny little packets of just salt. We also get a very, very tiny and flimsy looking napkin and a wooden spork. Okay, so this is what we're having for breakfast. Let's lay out the silverware and begin. Okay, so here's the breakfast laid out. Let's start up with heating that goulash. Open up the FRH just as you do with the USMRE one. Stirs from the top very easily. Now, this is much easier to work with because it's so much bigger. Place in the pouch and fill up with water until this mark. Now fold over the top and just shake it around so that the heating element is touched by the water. It helps if you lay it flat on the side with the heating element, but you have to be careful that you don't spill anything. If you hold the top closed properly and just leave it flat on the side with the heating element. There we go. That's heating up beautifully. Holy hell, that's a lot of steam. Oh yeah, that's working well. That's working really well. So, while the goulash is heating up, let's see some of those side items. Let's start off with these cereal bars over here. See if we can tear one open easily. They have tear notches, but they're not very ingeniously placed because the cereal bar is actually in the way of the path of the tear. Here is one. It doesn't particularly smell like anything. Let's give it a taste. So it's pretty chewy and hard to bite into. I guess the most prevalent flavor in here is that of raisins, even though there aren't any whole raisins that I can easily see. There are grains, expanded rice, oatmeal, but it doesn't exactly leave a flavor. It's still a very easy to eat and important source of fiber. Okay, let's get some drinks going. We got 3 whole drinks with this breakfast, so it's gonna be a bit of work. Let's start off with this breakfast tea. Here we go, we'll just let that steep for a minute or 2 or 3. Let's also make some of this instant coffee. Oh, I see, it's a fine spray-dried variety, not freeze-dried granules like you get in the USMREs. Because of this, I am pretty sure you can just add all of the water at once and then start to dissolve without any further complications. We're gonna have to rely on this pork for everything we do and eat, so this is gonna be interesting. That's all the napkin you get, and it is so thin you can see my hand through it. On the other side, this is pretty pathetic, I'm gonna be honest. They really got to bolster the napkin content of this ration. And let's also prepare that vitamin mineral isotonic beverage drink. Add 250 milliliters of water, the instructions say. I am actually going to use this paper cup they gave us to remove the tea bag. Still found a use for it. I would not trust these paper cups at all in the field. They are horribly preserved either way and they're simply not suited for the job. I wouldn't call it a very bright idea to include these. Now all our drinks are prepared, so let's test them out. First off, the breakfast tea with a bit of sugar added. Smells like some very washed out black tea or Earl Grey. I'm not the best at teas. Yes, it is a very mild black tea flavor. The sugar helps bolden the taste a little bit. Otherwise, I think it would be pretty washed out. It's also still a bit hot, so it might be hard to tell. Let's try out this isotonic lemon drink. Smells pretty strongly of citrus, even from afar. Yeah, it's pretty good for just isotonic soft drink, but there's always the same complaint I have with most of these, is that when they're a citrus variety, it's only the citrus flavor, but absolutely no sourness. This is the case here as well. There's the lemon flavor, but no sourness, which kind of gives this uncanny valley effect. And let's also check out this coffee. Hopefully it's cooled enough. This is just straight black coffee, no cream or no sugar added. Not bitter at all, not overly bitter, not very pronounced flavor either. Maybe I added too much water, though I doubt it, because this is a pretty reasonable amount of water to add to a coffee. But gets the job done, since the whole point of including coffee in these rations is caffeine for the morning. So definitely gets the job done. Before we take out our main, which should be heating for 12 minutes according to the instructions of the FRH, let's check out some jam sandwiches with these sweet biscuits. So they come in this cardboard paper sleeve. They are pretty hard and quite robust looking. No cracking at all, which I'm very happy about. It smells a bit like shortening, a bit of butter, and you can definitely feel a hint of vanilla. They're hard, so they didn't get soggy due to this pretty nice protective plastic paper, and they should retain their crunch. So let's try on its own first. Yeah, it's a pretty average run-of-the-mill sweet cracker. Practically just flour, shortening, and a bit of sugar. It's very dry, but that helps retain its freshness. And either way, it's probably supposed to be eaten with a tea or coffee. Dipped in any liquid, it readily absorbs it, and it's easy to eat with coffee or tea. Pretty good for breakfast. But enough with that. Let's actually put jam on it. This must be where it's at, right? And the pull tab failed. Gonna have to open this the old-fashioned way. So here is our little pack of peach jam. So here is a sloppy little ad hoc jam sandwich on a biscuit. Let's see how it goes. So yes, the jam definitely helps to nicely counteract the bitterness of the biscuit. The dryness. And makes it much more palatable. It's actually quite really nice with the crunch from the biscuit, but the smoothness and sweetness of the jam. Because the biscuits are not all that smooth. It's just a slight hint of sugar. So they don't taste like buttery hardtack. We're gonna use this wet wipe. So with all of that being said, let's check out the main course for breakfast, which should be beef goulash. Now it should be nicely heated up. Right, had to bring a bowl for the goulash, but this stuff is nice and hot and evenly heated. These European FRHs, they work like a charm. Open that up. And let's place it into the bowl. And this is it. Goulash with pasta. It is very nice and very hot. Let's give it a try. So I wouldn't exactly call this goulash, seeing as it's more like pasta soup with chunks of beef in it. There's no actual stew of vegetables and meat and potatoes and all of that. It's not bad though. The sauce isn't very flavorful, but the beef does retain its texture and its flavor, most importantly. The beef isn't hard to chew, but it's not soggy either. It's not very flavorful, so perhaps a packet of salt might help. We can add some salt and add some black pepper as well. Pepper made me sneeze. Would you look at that? Let's try it out now. Yeah, it's definitely a bit better. Worth adding more pepper. I mean, didn't really put that much. And it doesn't seem to be very spicy either. Yeah, this is a main course that definitely needs to be decked out with salt and pepper for it to be nice. There's also these salty biscuits, which might go pretty well with this sauce, I guess, as a side to the goulash itself, since there's nothing else to really eat this with. I'm not gonna spread jam on salty biscuits. They come in the same type of packaging, and looking at them, they are virtually identical to the sweet ones, so don't mix them up, I guess. They even still have that bit of shortening. I'm surprised, actually. I thought this would be just straight hardtack. But no, they're actually reasonably pleasant crackers. It's not like the French crackers in the French rations, those are gorgeous. You could just eat on their own. But it's not straight up hardtack either. It's pretty okay. Let's see with some of this sauce. Yeah, once this tea cools down, it's actually pretty good. So, regarding the breakfast, there's not much more to show you. I'm gonna finish these things up and then we'll move over to lunch. See you guys then. Okay, and here we are back with lunch. So let's see what lunch has in store for us. So here's the pack for lunch. Let's open it up and see what we got inside. So first off, we have another pack of salty biscuits. Accessory package, we'll check out again in a second. Probably very similar to what we've seen before. Now let's see, this is our main course here, and it is some creamy beef stew. Standard issue FRH, but we get 2 of them actually. We get a chocolate cake over here, prăjitură de ciocolată. Another packet of salty biscuits. They really like handing this out, don't they? Băutură cu proteine de ciocolată. This is a chocolate flavor hyper proteic drink. We have a leek and potato soup concentrate packet. We've tried this before in the European 24-hour standard ration, and if you happen to recognize some of those components, it is because this is basically the military analog of that. It's more complex because a soldier requires much better nutrition than just a civilian, but yeah. We've got some dried vacuum sealed apricots and raisins. Another lemon flavored isotonic vitamin drink. A bunch of more drinks actually. Quite a lot of those, look at this. Holy hell, you get 4 of these. All of them lemon flavor, interesting. I wonder if this is a manufacturing error or if they actually give you a whole 4 drinks for lunch. I mean, you gotta stay hydrated, that is very important. And we also get a can of presumably pate. Yes, this is pork liver pate. Yes, quite a popular item here in Romania too. I know that in the States this is not very common, but this is quite a staple down here. So we're gonna make some nice sandwiches with this. As for accessory packet, another one of these lousy attempts at preserving a cup. They really need to change this. This is a fool's errand trying to preserve these flimsy paper cups. Packet of sugar, moist towelette, black pepper, coffee, we also get a toothpick, salt and chewing gum. Practically the same accessory package that we got in the breakfast menu as well. I wonder if these are completely standard across all of variants of the ration. Well, with all of this being said, I'm gonna set out the silverware and then we'll get on with lunch. So here is everything we're gonna be having for lunch. I'm not gonna bother checking out anything that we've already seen in the breakfast menu because that would be redundant, but I checked on the pack for the lunch menu and they really do mean to give you 4 whole isotonic lemon beverage drinks. So that's pretty generous of them, I must say so. Either way, let's start off by heating up this creamy beef stew. They do also give you 2 of these flameless ration heaters. I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe most lunch menus have 2 heatable items and they wanted to give you 2 for consistency. Who knows? Maybe you just don't get one for dinner and you're supposed to use that one, or maybe it's just a backup. Either way, tear off the top and place in the pouch. So yeah, a very good tip that I can give you is it really helps laying the flameless ration heater flat on its heating element once you add the water. Just make sure you pinch it really tight so that none of the water actually leaks out. Let's lay this down. And as you can see, it starts right away. Incredibly well made these flameless ration heaters. Probably a good idea to pinch it back up just a little bit so that all that hot steam stays in there and really heats it up evenly. Now that our main course is heating up, let's actually see about this leek and potato soup. What's interesting, on the package they actually tell you place it in a cup and just drink it straight up. So that's exactly what we're gonna try this time. Add hot water. And stir well. Now, speaking from experience, this is gonna clump together at first, and it's gonna need quite a lot of time to hydrate properly. So we're gonna leave this to hydrate just about as long as our main is heating up in the FRH, and it should all be nice and done by that time. Very well then, so while our soup is hydrating and our main is heating up, let's make some traditional Romanian student food. We're gonna have some pâine cu pateu. Except instead of pâine, we're going to have biscuits. Look at that, it seems to have a very grainy texture. Smells quite rich. It is called Intense Pate on the can. Get a nice big spoonful. Now this pork is actually so flat that it works better as a knife than as a fork or spoon. So at least they nailed it with that. Let's give this a try. Oh yes, this is good. There's nothing to complain about it. There is the crackers dryness is completely counteracted by the pate. The pate is really nice. It's nothing super special, but it's good, right? It's pate. If anyone hasn't tried it, perhaps you live in the States or who knows, in a place where this is not so popular, you should definitely try it at one day. Great item indeed. Easy to eat on the go, easy to prepare. Tasty, there's absolutely nothing to complain about it. So let's also try this chocolate protein drink. Smells very rich when you open it up. Cocoa and milk. And it tells you to add about 250 milliliters of water. Actually gonna use an MRE spoon for stirring this up. So after some profuse stirring, there it is. It is nice and thick and it smells very inviting. Cocoa, like fresh hot chocolate, even though I didn't even add hot water. The only thing is that you have to stir it a lot. All of this stuff needs to dissolve and it's quite hard to do by hand with a spoon. It would be better off if they had one of those specialized bottle pouches like the USMRE. That would help a lot. But either way, let's give this a try. So it's not very sweet at all actually. The cocoa flavor is there but not prevalent at all. And it's got this powdery, this kind of coarse texture to it from the protein most likely. I mean, I stirred it up as best as I could. It might be related to that, but I highly doubt it. It's an okay drink. I mean, it's protein, it's important for you. Either way, why not drink it? I really got to help myself to another one of these cracker sandwiches. They're just really nice. Cheers. Okay then. So our main should be done heating, but before we try that, ooh, it's hot. But before we try that, we gotta check out this leek and potato soup. This should have hydrated nicely now, if you just give it a good stir. Leek and potato soup. Out of a mug. It's actually not very salty. I expected it to be quite salty. This is a nice, especially when it's hot, nice and warm, hearty component. if you're out there in the winter, this must feel like a lifesaver with some hot water and you can drink it on the go. I think this would be great. Added some salt to it. Let's see it now. Oh yeah, much better. With one of these, just one of these 2 gram packets of salt. Not even 2, just 1 gram. Very good. It really brings the flavor to life out of this. So now let's finally check out that creamy beef stew that we had heating all this time. And so here it is, nice and warmed up. Beautiful. Of course, these are designed so you can eat them in the field out of the pouch. They even have this gusset to stand on, which is very handy. The USMREs don't have that, which is surprising because in terms of practicality and logistical ingenuity, the USMREs are king of all rations. All the other European rations, they feature fancier meals or more food, things like that, but none really beat the USMRE when it comes to practicality. Turns out that in this case they do. Let's see here. So there it is, creamy beef and potato stew. Now let's try this thing out. I'm really pleasantly surprised by this. They weren't lying at all when they said creamy. This is just very smooth and uniform, but it doesn't feel mushy. The beef is still flavorful, and the sauce it's sitting in has a taste of its own. It's not just for show. Maybe it's a little bit too salty. What salt they didn't add in the leek and potato soup, they added back in here, it seems. But not much to really complain with this. The flavor isn't very complex. You just got pretty standard taste. Beef, potatoes, what you expect from a stew. It's a hearty and healthy meal. So a few things to point out about this protein drink. It's one of those things that you have to place the powder in and then add a little bit of water and really work that in there until you add the rest, because it's very hard to stir if it all is added once. It tends to clump together like this since the powder is quite hydrophobic. And this might be an awkward way to say it, but a very good way to describe it is, as a kid, have you ever licked Play-Doh because it smelled like vanilla and you were tempted to see what it tastes like and it turned out tasting really, really salty? And it was like, what the hell? This is nothing like what it smells like. This is practically what you imagined Play-Doh tastes like. I know it's a very weird comparison, but I'm certain that everybody has had that experience at one point. It's not horrible, but it is not something I'd expect from a drink looking like this, either way. So this is all really I have to say about the main courses of the lunch, but I'm gonna finish this up and then we'll also check out the desserts. I'll be right back. Alright, so after a nice hearty lunch like that, I'd better hope we've got a good dessert to go along with it. Let's check it right out. Let's start off with these vacuum sealed apricots and raisins. We'll open these up. That opened up easier than I expected. And you can see that they're really densely packed in there. They've practically all conglomerated into one solid mass. As soon as you open this, it's very, very powerful smelling. Even though these are dried, the smell of like apricot really hits you. A bunch of resins clumped together. Let's try it out. Some raisins as well. Yeah, hey, this is not bad at all. I mean, I am a person who generally really dislikes raisins, but in combination with these apricots, they've kind of taken on the flavor, and it's just this uniform, nice, chewy snack. Healthy as well. And easy to eat too. Yeah, this is a great little snack to have in this ration. In the dessert, maybe you can eat this while you're moving. Maybe you can eat this while you're on a march, or if you're on the go. Easy to eat, tasty, nice and chewy. It's a great little healthy snack in this ration. I like it. This is a good excuse to also check out this moist towelette in more detail. Pretty standard from what you see, very similar to what you get in the US Army MRE. It's a bit difficult to unfold. You gotta really get in there. It, unlike the US Army MRE, it has a pretty distinctive disinfectant smell. Not exactly alcoholic, but perhaps some chlorine-based disinfectant. Either way, it does the job, and it's reasonably sturdy. I mean, it tore here, but I pulled a bit too hard on it. It's definitely way more sturdy than your average napkin that you get in these rations, which, by the way, you get way too little of. You get like one very thin napkin per dinner / lunch / breakfast pack. But anyway, let's also check out this chocolate cake over here. You see it's pretty nicely packaged in there. Look at that. Look at that. That looks beautiful. And it smells rich of chocolate. Pretty dense as well. Listen to that. Yeah, that's dense. Let's give it a try right away. Yeah, that's a very, very satisfying, nice, soft, pillowy chocolate cake, but not 90% there. It's actually even got a bit of cream in there, I think. Like a really nice and soft brownie, which is basically what it is, except bigger and slightly denser. Yeah, a really nice dessert for this lunch, I must say so. Unlike that protein drink from earlier, this cake really gets that balance between sweetness and bitterness and cocoa flavor to feel like actual chocolate, unlike what we've had earlier. That was pretty disappointing, I must say so myself, the chocolate protein beverage. But this cake really gets it right. So either way, this has been lunch. Now I'm gonna finish up this really nice dessert that we have, and I'll see you over at dinner. See you then. Alright, it's evening now, and I'm absolutely starved. So let's see what we've got for dinner. Let's open it up. Let's start with the drinks and accessory package. The usual pathetic plastic cup, and inside we have the following: moist towelette, black pepper, instant coffee, sugar, chewing gum, salt, and a toothpick. We also have got the standard issue wooden spork and a crumpled up napkin. Then let's see our main course for the night. We have a pack of beef rendang. I have no idea what that is, to be perfectly honest with you, so I guess we'll have to try it out. We've got another vitamin mineral lemon beverage base, 2 of those. Flameless ration heater. A nut and raisin cocktail. This is another can of pork pate, but this time it is ham pate, not liver. That is way less common here. We have a fig and almond energy bar and a pack of salty biscuits. So this is everything we get for dinner. I'm gonna set out the silverware as usual and I'll see you then. Here is everything laid out, so let's get cooking. First off, heating up the main. You should already know the drill by this point. FRH, tear it open. Placing the pouch inside. Add water to the line. There it goes. Should probably turn this the other way around so that the heating element stays face down. Okay, so let's make some sandwiches as well. Open up the biscuit sărați. Open up the pate. That's an interesting color. Pretty pale and pinkish from the ham. So let's see here. Despite pate being so popular in my country, I don't think I've ever tried ham pate. It's mostly liver that is sold here. Here it is. Let's check it out. Yeah, so compared to the liver pate, it's got a sweeter tinge and it's way less intense. So perhaps to some people this would be desirable. To me this tastes a little bit alien, I must say so. Because when I expect pate, I expect something, you know, with that strong liver flavor. This is way more tame. And it's actually quite a bit garlicky too, if I'm not mistaken. We can feel it in there. If you can see, as opposed to the liver pate, it's got also a way more of a fibrous texture because it's made of ham, which is mostly muscle, unlike the soft hepatic tissue that liver is made of. Let's prepare another one of these lemon isotonic drinks really quick. One thing I must say about this is that they give them out quite generously, these isotonic drinks, but they're all lemon flavored, which I'm sure gets old pretty fast if this is what you eat every day for 2 weeks or however long your campaign lasts. And it's not like they couldn't have more variety with this. Just use another citrus, like even a slight change in flavor, like doing an orange batch of these. That would be a great idea. Maybe even add some more exotic flavors like fruit punch or who knows. Alright, spoons cleaned. Give it another try. So again, this is a good tasting drink. It is completely enjoyable, but the fact that it's only in lemon flavor in this ration, I bet can get quite tiring. Just switching it up a bit would not hurt. And maybe this is personal preference, but adding a little bit more citric acid to make it a bit more sour. Let's see about these mixed nuts and raisins here. They come in this vacuum sealed can. This is foil, by the way. See how it's like sucked in? This is completely under vacuum. Hear that. Would you look at that? We've had this before in the standard European 24-hour ration, and there's nothing super special about these. It's a mix of nuts and raisins. It's got good omega-3 and other beneficial types of fat plus metals. So, and it keeps very well. If it's vacuum sealed, there's no reason this would rot or go bad. So it's a good component for the nutritional value of the ration. So yes, a very fine and important component, this nut cocktail, for the nutritional value of the ration. Either way, 12 minutes should have passed. Remember, these FRAGs actually tell you to keep them around for 12 minutes. So we're gonna open it up and see. I'm gonna help dry it with this extra bit of napkin I got. Again, it would really help if they increased how many napkins they give you. In this ration, they only give you 1 per meal, which is not enough, especially in field conditions. One thing I am noticing is that these FRHs are very, very reliable, very consistent. They heat your food up evenly and nice and hot. They're easy to use. I would say that they are better than the USMRE's FRHs. But then again, the USMRE overall is way more geared towards logistical feasibility and just ease of use, convenience. And having a smaller FRH that is more compact can really help. Beef rendang. I've never tried this before, so let's crack it open and see how it is. It's got a lot of sauce in there. Has a very pleasant aroma of curry or turmeric as soon as you open it up. And it's got some of these fusilli like we've seen in the goulash, which makes me highly doubt that this is anything close to actual rendang, but It's also got the beef chunks. So let's give it a test. Oh hey, it's got a very strong aroma of ginger. Damn, not aroma. It's actually quite spicy from the ginger. I love that. I'm a very big fan of ginger. There's also the curry, but that kind of falls behind the ginger flavor. Yeah, so essentially what we've got here is the same thing that we had in the breakfast, the beef goulash, except it's in a different sauce. And I must say, this is much better than the quote-unquote goulash they had, because this sauce has a lot of flavor. A lot of flavor and a lot of exotic spices, unlike the goulash, which, if you've never tried actual real Hungarian goulash, they put a lot of cumin in that, and that's kind of its calling card. What we ate in the breakfast had absolutely no flavor of cumin, so which would have been the most prevalent. So this is a sauce done right if you want to flavor something. Okay, and for dessert, let's also check out this fig and almonds energy bar. Interestingly enough, it says in the Romanian translation, it says it's an energy bar, but in English it just tells you it's a fig and almond bar. So which one is it? Just semantics, obviously, but it's funny to see that. Opens up nice and easily from the vacuum sealed pouch. And there it is. I assume that it's a sheet of edible rice paper that got glued to the bar itself, so shouldn't be a problem necessarily. Let's give this thing a try. Yeah, it's very chewy. It's still got those figs seeds in there, and I assume other chunks of almond, which give it a nice sort of peculiar crunch, actually. It practically just tastes like figs. There is no almond flavor to speak of at all. But it's a nice, easy to eat, healthy snack. But man, you really got to chew away at these things. So this was dinner from the individual combat ration of the Romanian army, menu number 1. This has practically been everything to show. And now I'm gonna go over to my closing thoughts and tell you more about the rations themselves. So, since it's the first review ever published about this ration, I will now give you a bit more detailed technical information about it. So, the Romanian RIL, or Rație Individuală de Luptă, weighs 2.6 kilograms and contains roughly, from my calculations based on the nutritional information provided on each menu packet, about 5,000 calories on average. In comparison, 3 US MREs contain on average 3,900 calories and weigh 1.8 kilograms. This gives the US MRE a higher energy to weight ratio than the Romanian RIL, while also making them more compact and easier to use. Then again, we are talking about the US MRE, which is gold standard for logistics when it comes to military rations. This is not to say that the RIL is a bad ration. However, there are certain things that can be improved about it. So if any Romanian procurement officers are watching this video, pay attention closely now. First of all, I would like to see more variety in the isotonic vitamin mineral drinks that are given out. A lot of them are given out, which I think is a very good thing. It helps soldiers stay hydrated and get all of the electrolytes they need. However, it can get very old very fast, especially when they are given out so many per ration. And a way to counteract this would be to see more flavors of those, perhaps even more exotic ones. Like I said, fruit punch or lychee could work as flavors for such drinks, not just lemon. Next up, the mains here are quite shortchanging you. There is a lot of things which are branded as goulash, for example, but in reality it's sort of like a stew with beef and pasta. So another thing would be nice to stop shortchanging our soldiers. When we say goulash, don't give them just beef and pasta, give them all the vegetables. Give them potatoes, give them carrots along with the beef, give them paprika, pepper, all of that good stuff. Would be really nice and much healthier for main course. Other than that, it comes to the ergonomics of the ration. This pork is really quite mediocre. They give you 3 of these, 1 for each meal, so they expect this to be disposable. They bend and break very easily, as you can see, and they do not really fulfill either the job of a fork or a spoon, despite being a spork. You get the worst of both worlds. It is too flat to really hold any liquid, and the spikes are too short to effectively dig into any food. Another thing is that there are only a grand total of 3 napkins in this whole ration, not counting the disinfectant towelettes, which are probably going to be used for cleaning hands. So when it comes to cleaning utensils or just keeping a tidy eating space, it is very hard to do with just 3 thin napkins. Those should be given out in a much higher quantity and they wouldn't add much weight to the ration. Lastly, this ration is very voluminous and very heavy. It is a 24-hour ration, but even for such a ration, it is exceptionally heavy and, again, takes up a lot of space. I imagine that Romanian soldiers strip these rations of non-essential components all the time when going with these on missions, which is quite a sad thing because a lot of food ends up being wasted. In order to limit this, I would suggest trying to cut some weight by throwing away inessential things. For example, get rid of the different bags separating dinner, lunch, and breakfast. Just let the soldiers mix and match whatever they want. It's not that big of a deal. You can give them a tiny little instruction leaflet somewhere on the label telling them what you should have for each meal in order to stay and maintain healthy eating habits. Another thing, some heavy chunky metal items like cans could be replaced by more modern thermostabilized retort pouches in order to save space further, perhaps even weight. And there is, as you can see, quite a bit of dead space in the bag. The components rattle and tumble around in there. The bag could definitely be made a little bit shorter in order to save up a little bit more space. Otherwise, the packaging is very much sound. It is waterproof and it is made of quite durable plastic. I have not yet figured out whether this has a peelable seal, but it is easy to cut if needed, and there are no issues with that. At last, these have been my thoughts on the official Romanian Army RIL, or Individual Combat Ration. I hope you really enjoyed this video, especially considering that it is the first time somebody ever makes a review of this ration, which again is quite amazing to me. I'm glad I was the one to do so, and I will see you in the next one. Oh, don't forget to tell me in the comments if you want to see any more of these rations. I will definitely be making more videos. See you guys.